Dubai handled 92 million passengers in 2024. For more than a decade, it has been the busiest international airport on Earth. And almost none of those people were actually going there. Dubai is not a destination, it is a machine. And for the first time in 40 years, someone is trying to rebuild that machine somewhere else. Most people think of airports as places where journeys begin and end. That is not what Dubai is. Roughly 80% of the passengers passing through Dubai International Airport are in transit. They land, walk across a terminal, and leave again, connecting between continents that would otherwise be harder, slower, or more expensive to reach. Dubai does not win because people choose it. It wins because the system leaves them no better option. It sits at the intersection of Europe, Asia, and Africa, and then built the infrastructure to make stopping there the most efficient decision in global aviation. That combination, geography plus infrastructure, is what creates a hub. Remove either one, and the system breaks. For decades, Dubai owned both. But quietly, another country has always had one of them. Geography. Addis Ababa sits almost exactly along the natural flight paths between Africa and Asia, and between Africa and Europe. Draw a straight line from Lagos to Bangkok, or Nairobi to Paris, and that line passes close to Ethiopia. By pure physics, it is one of the most efficient connection points on Earth. And yet, for decades, passengers didn't connect there, not because it was wrong, but because it wasn't ready. Air travel does not follow geography, it follows infrastructure. And for 40 years, Dubai owned the infrastructure. Ethiopian Airlines has been building toward this moment for decades. By 2025, it was carrying around 19 million passengers per year. It generated over $7.6 billion in revenue. It operates one of the youngest wide-body fleets in the world, and it serves more destinations across Africa than any other airline. The network is already there, the demand is already there, but the system is not. Bole International Airport, Addis Ababa's current hub, was designed for around 22 million passengers per year. Ethiopian Airlines alone is already approaching that limit, and it is still growing at roughly 8% annually. That creates a problem most passengers never see, but every airline fears: congestion, more aircraft competing for the same gates, more passengers crowding the same corridors, more delays stacking on top of each other. And in hub economics, delays are not just inconvenient, they break the system. If a passenger misses a connection, the entire journey collapses. If enough passengers miss connections, the hub loses reliability, and once reliability drops, passengers stop booking it. This is the moment every fast-growing airline eventually hits. Not a demand problem, a ceiling. Ethiopian Airlines reached that ceiling, and at that point there are only two options: stop growing or rebuild the entire machine from scratch. They chose the second. In January 2026, Ethiopia broke ground on a $12.5 billion airport project just outside Addis Ababa, Bishoftu Airport. Phase 1 is scheduled to open in 2030, with capacity for 60 million passengers per year. Eventually, the airport will expand to 4 runways and handle up to 120 million passengers annually. To put that into perspective, Dubai handled 92 million passengers in 2024. This is not an expansion, this is a reset. But scale alone is not what makes this project dangerous to Dubai. The real advantage is built into the details. Start with altitude. Bole International Airport sits at 2,334 meters above sea level. At that elevation, the air is thinner and aircraft generate less lift. That means every long-haul flight must take off with less weight, less fuel, fewer passengers, less cargo. It is not a small inefficiency. It is a permanent penalty applied to every flight, every day, for decades. Bishoftu sits lower at around 1,980 meters, just 354 meters of difference. But in aviation, that difference compounds. Aircraft can depart heavier, routes can extend further, fuel efficiency improves. At Bole, every flight pays a penalty. At Bishoftu, that penalty disappears, not through strategy, but through physics. Then there is the terminal itself. Bishoftu's main terminal is designed as an X-shaped structure spanning around 660,000 square meters. That is not an architectural statement. It is an operational weapon. In hub airports, the most important metric is not size, it's connection time. How quickly can a passenger move from one gate to another? Because that determines everything else. Shorter connection times allow tighter schedules. Tighter schedules allow cheaper tickets. Cheaper tickets increase demand, and higher demand strengthens the network. In other words, the faster the passenger moves, the more the system can sell. And then there is the largest opportunity of all, Africa itself. Today, flying within Africa is often inefficient. A passenger traveling from Accra to Dar es Salaam may have to travel via Europe or the Middle East, cities that are geographically out of the way. Not because demand is low, it is because the system does not exist. Africa does not lack passengers. It lacks a system that works. Ethiopian Airlines already serves more than 60 destinations across the continent. What it has never had is a hub large enough to connect them efficiently. Bishoftu is designed to become that hub, not just for intercontinental traffic, but for Africa itself. And that is a market that does not exist at scale today, because the infrastructure has never existed at scale. Until now. There is a clear precedent for this strategy. In 1985, Emirates launched with just 2 aircraft. Dubai was not an obvious global hub. It did not have a large domestic market. It did not have an established aviation industry. What it had was a willingness to invest ahead of demand, to build infrastructure before it was justified. For years, it looked like an overbuilt airport in the desert. Then, suddenly, the world reorganized itself around it. By 2024, Dubai had become the busiest international airport on Earth. The system worked, and it reshaped global aviation. Ethiopian Airlines is now attempting something similar, but with one key difference. This time, the geography is already in its favor, which brings us to the real mechanism of disruption. Bishoftu doesn't need to beat Dubai, it doesn't need to be more luxurious, it doesn't need to replace every route. It only needs to do one thing: break Dubai's advantage. For passengers traveling to and from Africa, Addis Ababa is already closer. That means shorter total travel times, lower fuel burn, potentially lower fares. And geography is not something competitors can replicate. Dubai cannot move closer to Africa. It cannot lower its elevation. It cannot change where it exists. And in aviation, those are the only advantages that last. But none of this is guaranteed. Projects of this scale rarely go exactly as planned. Phase 1 is scheduled to open in 2030. The budget is estimated at $12.5 billion. Both of those numbers assume stability, stable financing, stable construction timelines, stable political conditions. History suggests those assumptions are optimistic. Ethiopia experienced a major civil conflict from 2020 to 2022. While the situation has improved, regional tensions remain. Large-scale infrastructure projects are not built in isolation from political reality. This is not a controlled environment. It is a $12.5 billion project, built inside uncertainty. Delays are possible, cost overruns are likely, strategic priorities can shift, and in aviation, timing matters. If the system arrives too late, the opportunity may already belong to someone else, but the underlying trend is not uncertain. Africa's passenger numbers are projected to triple by 2050. That growth will require infrastructure. The question is not whether that infrastructure will exist. The question is where it will be built and who will control it. Because in aviation, the airline that owns the connections owns the money. Dubai built its dominance over 40 years, step by step, runway by runway, route by route. It built a system so efficient that global traffic reorganized itself around it. Ethiopia is attempting to build a competing system in a fraction of that time. And that is what makes this moment different. This is not a slow shift. It is a structural one. One system is established, one system is emerging, and somewhere in between, the map of global aviation is starting to change. Not with a headline, not with a single announcement, but with something much harder to see. Passengers making small decisions, choosing slightly shorter routes, choosing slightly cheaper fares, choosing slightly more efficient connections. And over time, those small decisions compound. Routes shift, airlines adapt, networks reorganize. Dubai did not become dominant overnight. It became dominant when the system reached a tipping point. Bishoftu is designed to reach that same point. The question is not whether the airport will be built. It will. The question is not whether it will be large. It will be one of the largest in the world. The real question is whether it will work as intended, whether it becomes a true global connector or remains an overbuilt regional hub. Because if it works, the impact will not be gradual. Global aviation does not evolve slowly. It reorganizes. Dubai spent 40 years building the world's most powerful aviation hub. Ethiopia is trying to build a rival. In 1 decade, one system is established, one system is emerging, and somewhere in between, the balance is starting to shift. Not loudly, not suddenly, but quietly, with passengers choosing a different path. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you at our next video. Take care.